National Signing Day is Wednesday, and a good chunk of players have made their decisions, but some massive names are still out there. Guys like Harold Perkins, the #1 linebacker in the class of 2022. Also, Devin Campbell, who's the top offensive lineman, I should say. There was also five-star defensive lineman Jamar Stewart, a top 10 player nationally, the #1 player out of the state of Florida. Taking a look at the top uncommitted prospects he got going on. Harold Perkins, mentioned him, Devin Campbell, Jamar Stewart. Perkins, we do want to mention, had committed to Texas A&M, which gave them 3 players, I believe, in the top 10. He has since decommitted, but the Aggies are still in the mix. Let's welcome in Director of Recruiting for 24/7 Sports, our good friend Steve Wiltfong, who will be here on Wednesday, flying out tomorrow. Before we get to some of these players, I want to talk about a team that could break out on National Signing Day. I mean, you got A&M up there, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Texas. I feel like we haven't talked a lot about them. Who do you think could break out on National Signing Day?
And we're going to mention a lot of those teams later in this segment. So let's talk about the Clemson Tigers right now. They were a team that was down in uncharted waters for them, down in the back end of the top 25. But they've shot up to number 11 recently and can find their way into the top 10 come National Signing Day, with a few of these young men announcing their college decision. Top 247 defensive lineman Caden Story is a guy that Clemson is trending for on the 24/7 Sports crystal ball. He did take an official visit to Florida this weekend, so we'll see if the Gators move the needle there. And TJ Dudley's a 4-star linebacker, one-time commit to Oregon, who's also trending to Clemson on the 24/7 Sports crystal ball. If they land both of them, they'll find their way into the top 10. And they're also battling Georgia for prolific running back Andrew Paul out of the Lone Star State, who rushed for over 2,000 yards as a senior. Became one of the more coveted guys in this recruiting class at the end of the cycle. Michigan, Notre Dame, a couple other schools really pushing for Andrew, but it's down to Georgia. It's down to Clemson. Had a terrific visit to Georgia this weekend. There's a lot of Georgia buzz, but got back and talked with CJ Spiller. Had a good talk with Clemson last night as well, I'm hearing. So the Tigers still alive for Andrew Paul as well, and could be an interesting team to watch on Wednesday.
So let's talk about some of those players. The next 3 players I do want to mention, you can watch all of their commitments, which is absolutely massive, live right here on HQ on Wednesday. Let's start with 5-star linebacker Harold Perkins. As I mentioned, he was committed to A&M, decommitted. It is now between Florida, LSU, and the Aggies, Steve, are still in the mix here for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Harold Perkins took his last official visit of the process this weekend to LSU and had a terrific time, had several family members with him, got a chance to better know the coaching staff, got to do a Zoom with the new defensive coordinator, Coach House, who was busy coaching the Chiefs this weekend, but made time to talk with Harold Perkins and guys like Jacoby Matthews, the coveted safety from in-state. And I heard he made a major impression on the family with the way that he plans to use Harold Perkins in that LSU defense. He's a New Orleans native. The family has great familiarity with the program. His mom said that there just seemed to be a lot more organization around this program under the new coaching staff. Brian Kelly made an impression with his willingness to be around the kids during the jersey shoot. And obviously everyone's seen all that go viral. So LSU is a program potentially trending, but Florida's still in this one. I know he talked with Florida after his LSU visit. And A&M, he's got great familiarity with those players already in the class, and it's closer to home for the Cy Park stand out there in Cypress, Texas. All 3 schools still alive, according to Mom. And Harold told his mom last night, I still got some decisions to make over the next 48 hours.
All right, let's talk about the top offensive lineman in the class of 2022, not committed, in Devin Campbell. He had 32 offers, so he could pretty much pick to go anywhere. The crystal ball is heavily leaning to the University of Texas. Does it look like he's going there? What do we need to know?
Yeah, Devon DJ Campbell trending towards Texas on the 24/7 Sports crystal ball, including my forecast. The Longhorns have kind of been considered the team to beat, even back to last summer, one of the programs that got in early on this young man and built a rapport under Coach Steve Sarkisian and company. Now, Oklahoma has made this one interesting throughout the process, took several visits to Norman, and they are in the final 2. But I really like Texas going into the decision, and when they land him, or if they land him, it would give Texas the top offensive line recruiting class in the country in the 2022 cycle. And we've seen Texas recruit at a high level at quarterback and at offensive skill and defensive skill. But when you look at this high-ranking Texas recruiting class here in 2022, regardless of what Devon Campbell does, they've really bolstered both sides of the ball at the point of attack.
Five-star defensive lineman Shamar Stewart, #1 player in the state of Florida. Last time I talked to you last week, there was a huge fight between three teams, Georgia, Texas A&M, and Miami. Has anything changed over the course of the week?
Well, he took another visit to Miami this weekend. He was back for his official visit to Coral Gables. And Miami had several visitors on campus, but I'm told Shamar's visit was a little bit different than everybody else's. They really rolled out the red carpet for him, did some different things with Shamar to really show him what a priority he is for Miami. And people around that recruitment have said that Miami has closed the gap under Mario Cristobal and this new coaching staff at Miami. But I still like Texas A&M. The Aggies have the long-standing relationship. They have the scheme. I think the new defensive coordinator hire, DJ Durkin, was a good one. But there's several relationships on that coaching staff that Shamar has with on-field coaches, off-field coaches. I think that his relationships with players on the team, being potentially part of this recruiting class, I still like where Texas A&M stands going into the last 2 days. And if they do land Shamar Stewart, when they had Harold Perkins in the fold, it was the highest ranked recruiting class in 24/7 sports history. When he decommitted, it just fell to #1 overall this cycle, which is obviously pretty awesome. But if they're able to get Shamar back in the fold, it's back to #1 in history. They're still battling for Harold Perkins. A&M's in the middle of it for Jacoby Matthews as they battle Florida and LSU for him as well. So Texas A&M could have a lot of fun on Wednesday too.
Finally, got to talk to you about Caleb Williams, current Oklahoma quarterback in the transfer portal. USC, Wisconsin started popping up over the past couple of days. Where is Caleb Williams right now? Where do things stand with him?
Well, I talked to a source with knowledge of Caleb's recruitment this morning, or his second recruitment, and I still like where USC stands for him. That's where most of the buzz is for Caleb. I know he's been having regular dialogue with Lincoln Riley and that staff out there. And so the pulse is still with USC, but UCLA and Wisconsin at different points have had momentum there. So we'll see what Caleb's ultimately going to do. I do believe that if he knew exactly what he was going to do, he'd already be in the bow. It was similar to his recruiting process, where there was a perceived leader in Oklahoma for much of the process. But I do think that he dotted I's and crossed T's and looked at other schools and looked at other situations to be sure. So I would imagine that they're going through the transfer portal process with the same fine-tooth comb that they were using during the recruiting process.
Of course, we know USC is still searching for a quarterback. Maybe it will be Caleb Williams. Steve, safe travels. We'll see you here at HQ very soon. Taking a look at the Wednesday commitment schedule, we have 9 of them starting at 9 a.m. going all the way up until 7 p.m., but 3 right here, all 5 stars. Check them out at HQ. Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.